I can just see your little businesses being crushed. I predicted your 401ks were going to evaporate, didn't I? Didn't I? But I knew we were going to have a tsunami, but I didn't know it was going to be Corona. I thought it was going to be the federal deficit. I knew that the collapsing oil price would exacerbate it, whatever it was. And now, me saying oil's going to go to $5 doesn't sound so funny, does it? You have no idea how much shit I took about that. $5 oil. We may get negative oil. In other words, they pay you to take it off their hands. Negative. Interest rates aren't the only thing that can go negative, kids. Right now, the U.S. government is buying up oil to put in the strategic reserve. So what? But President Trump only has so many arrows in his quiver. There's only so many things he can do. None of which save the little companies that you're going to be buying. We may wipe out a whole section of the world economy. A whole section. And just remember, at the end of World War I and at the end of World War II, guys got rich. But there were ruthless and savage decisions to be made. This is still another bubble. Now, if I were the president, this is the greatest time to get rid of the deficit. And by the way, sticking $1 trillion in the economy doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It needs to be $1,000 trillion. We don't have $1,000 trillion. If we printed $1,000 trillion in America, it would be hyperinflation. $1 would be worth a nickel. Now, I tell you all this to give you the gravity of how exceptional the opportunities are.
I know that there are businesses that are being shut down and companies going out of business because of the coronavirus, and it's very unfortunate. And this is why, as an entrepreneur, we always need to be prepared. Maybe now is the time to look at what you do and restructure your business a bit. Maybe switching some of the employees to independent contractors. Maybe there are certain functions in your business that you could outsource. Maybe it's also time to consider having a more remote team, a remote structure. So when things like this happen, and it will happen again, that it would affect your business, but it will not destroy your business. Also, maybe consider not just having businesses that are maybe all events driven, using the online, using the technology, using certain tools to be able to keep your business going. I think that's also pretty important.
My dad used to tell me stories. He was 14 in 1918, and he told me what went on in Omaha, during the big Spanish flu epidemic. I mean, it was something in those days, and pandemics will occur in the future. Now, what they hope to get is a universal flu vaccine, but that's a long way off. It isn't impossible. I mean, I asked my own science advisor is Bill Gates, so I talked to him. I call him. I've talked to him the last few days about it, and he's bullish on the long-term outlook for a universal prevention of it, but he says it's not going to come, it's not going to be here in 10 years.
What are Bill's concerns as somebody who spends a lot of time traveling around the globe, as somebody who is trying to help medicine in some of the less developed parts of the world?
Yeah, the Gates Foundation is very active in trying to be helpful on this, and Bill says the CDC is the best in the world, and I mean, we've got terrific resources in this country, but a pandemic is a pandemic, and there's just no evaluating. But I have heard that the summer is not likely to cause the end of this.
Do you know why?
But I don't know, and you shouldn't be asking. I shouldn't be offering my opinion on that, because I pass along things I hear from people I think are smart, but
I'm actually asking for Bill's opinion, not yours.
yeah, well, I shouldn't really quote him, but I do. He's the guy I ask, and I did talk to him just a few days ago, and he loves to talk science, and he can make it so I can understand it, which is quite a trick. At the Gates Foundation, they're taking it very seriously. I'll put it that way.
When is the last time you got the flu or got a cold or got sick where you were out for a while? Do you remember the last time?
Must be amnesia, but I don't know. I forgot.
And
it's not there.
You're doing cold training often. You're leading retreats every other week. You're climbing, a mountain in snow and freezing cold, shirtless. You're jumping in freezing rivers, cold tubs, ice showers. You're doing these things, but you don't remember the last time you got sick. Maybe a little here and there, but you were able to get yourself back to full power. Are you in this time staying at home and making sure you're protecting yourself and the ones around you, even though you're trained to not get sick? Or are you saying, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to live my life, I'm going to touch everything and touch my mouth, and I'm not worried? What's your mindset during this time?
I'm absolutely not in fear related to coronavirus infection. I know how to beat to beat it. I know how to spike up my immune system. I know this. I already talked to the university, and I told them, "Hey guys, still got my blood taken while I was doing my exercises." And that blood has shown to be resistant against a bacteria injected into the blood. Normally, there is an aggressive reaction of the immune cells ex vivo in laboratory setting. So without me, but it's my blood. And they took it when I was doing my exercising. And they took it. Normally, there is a very violent reaction on the immune cells. Now they took my blood and they put in the same bacteria, and there was zero reaction on the immune cells.
Really?
Zero.
Is this with?
So I told him, yes.
Coronavirus or just with any virus?
That's what creates inflammation. And coronavirus also just creates inflammation. So we were not able to bring down inflammation at will. And I showed how to bring it completely down. Wow. So at least let them investigate how this is possible, because I've been showing it. And then they told me, you are the only one who is able to do this because you are the Iceman. Then I directly said, no, give me a group of people and I will show just in a couple of days how to bring them to the autonomic nervous system, the innate immune system, how to bring down inflammation. And then you test them all with the bacteria, you inject them and cause inflammation in the body, the innate immune system reaction, and then you will see they all will bring it down. That in contrary of hundreds and thousands of people who have done the same experiment and all got sick.
Wow.
I'm a CPA by training. I'm a father of four, happy and all that stuff. This coronavirus has got me thinking about like making a change. I just don't know really to what. Like I could keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to be 50 next year. I'm very dedicated to like self-improvement. I listen to all your stuff. Like I'm very happy to be talking to you. But at the same time, like I'm now like, what's next? And so that's the question is like, what advice would you give to somebody who is facing this sort of situation where it's like, okay, what do I do for the next step? Because I've had a moment in my life where I've had the opportunity to reflect.
Yeah, so you need to take some time to play. So a lot of people have a sense, okay, something's not right with my life. It's not all that it could be, but they don't know where they want to go. And there's literally nothing to do but play until you know where you want to go. So you need to figure out what world of things do you want to be around. So because it may be that simple, right? It may be, I'm going to stay being a CPA, but I'm going to do it in, for a company that is something that I care deeply about. It's just things that I want to be around. For me, it's movies, video games, comic books, that kind of stuff. So if I had a whole nother skill set, maybe I would go do that in that world. Or it may be that, no, you totally want to reinvent yourself and you don't mind starting low man on the totem pole. Cool. Whatever it is, first you need to identify what that universe is so that you can get pointed in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what that is, either you're not being honest with yourself and you do know your areas of interest. Remember, there's not going to be a hidden passion. There's just going to be unacknowledged areas of interest. Go and engage with one of those areas. Or if truly, nope, I really don't know, it isn't me that I secretly know and I just don't want to admit, I really don't know, then go play. Like, go explore, do a bunch of different stuff, take classes online, like find out what is that thing that gives you more energy than it takes. And for me, the easiest way, and this definitely is me painting it with my worldview, but I always ask myself, what is it that I want to be the best in the world at? And there's nothing more intoxicating for me than going, all right, this is a puzzle for me to solve, and I'm going to go and figure this out better than anybody else. And I get intoxicated by that notion of like, I so don't have an ego about this, and I know that I'll be so much more nimble than everybody else because I'm willing to be honest with myself about whether or not I'm making progress. And I know most people can't do that. It's crazy. The number of people that invest in being right or being smart, and I just don't invest like that. So I invest in learning. And so I just end up outperforming other people. And because I so love that process of winning, of learning more, learning faster, being more efficient, more effective, it's like, even if I end up failing, I so love trying to solve that puzzle that I just have a great time doing that. And so my obsession around sincere pursuit, right? So I'm going to sincerely pursue whatever. Maybe you want to go be a professional bass fisher, a race car driver in the 50 and over circuit, like whatever. It doesn't matter what that thing is, but it's like really getting into a place where it's like, hey, this is the thing I want to fail at doing. This is the thing I want to spend the next 20 years struggling at and ultimately fail. If you can say that sentence and be like, this is the thing I want to do, you can't lose. You can't lose. And then if you're sincerely pursuing the win, then it's like, hey, you might actually win because you're not bullshitting yourself. You're not lying. You don't need to win for it to be a win, if that makes sense. It's the pursuit. It's the love of that thing. It's being immersed in that world. It's finding a way to add meaning and purpose to the pursuit of that thing, right? That's a process. You're just going to decide, I'm here to serve this person. That matters to me, whatever. You're going to say that shit out loud. Again, check out my Mindset 101 class, which I think we still have the link up. I can't see anymore, but
2 of the 3, yeah.
So that is huge. Going through that, recognizing this is a process that you won't turn inward and find a passion. You won't turn inward and find a passion, right? So passion is not an archaeological dig. It is an architectural build. And it's going down that process of building that passion in your life. So it's going to start with play.
If you want more advice, wisdom, guidance from other successful entrepreneurs on how you can navigate the coronavirus situation, check out the video right there next to me. I hope you find it valuable. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Or when your life has that moment of a downtrodden,